Chapter 5, which is up the elevator and to the left in the lighthouse. Again, depending on whether or not you skip the cutscene exiting Chapter 4. Most of this chapter takes place inside a factory that produces, who knows, boxes maybe.
All I know is it's full of OSHA violations.
So many violations.
You can see he was gaining on me a little bit there on the uphill, but he's not going to gain on me here. So that's where we were talking about the bunny hop speed. On PC, it doesn't really matter too much, I don't think, on flat surfaces. But that's a good place to test if that's true on your console.
Here, you want to make sure you're separate. One Yarny's going to lift this platform up a little bit while the other Yarny... Whoops. Oh, I might be a little too high. That's okay. I got the platform a little bit too high. Other Yarny's going to move forward. When you get there, ride it all the way up top. Zoop. And now we're going to try and get past some cigarettes. That second cigarette always looks very scary, but you should always be able to make it, assuming you make decent time on the way up. You can just jump straight down that chute and then angle yourself a little bit to the right to avoid all three of those cigarettes. Here's another short little cutscene where we will gain control of the Yarny pretty much as we gain visibility of the Yarny. So I hold right throughout this entire cutscene. Make sure you catch this anchor. Whoops. Whoops. That doesn't happen to me often.
Let me start this level.
Just a series of wall jumps here. Swing up and over. Lots of swings and lots of wall jumps in this section. Takes some practice to get them consistently, but they're not hard. Make sure you do not jump into this steam while it is blowing. You can get awfully close, you'll see. But if you get into it, you get knocked all the way down to the bottom, as I just demonstrated. So instead, whoops, I'm gonna have to wait on another cycle. You want to make sure you wait until the steam is blowing out. There's a short period where you are totally safe to go through. Alright, there's a couple of ways to do this puzzle. We'll demonstrate the intended method first, which is the method we've been doing until pretty recently, actually. Easy peasy. Okay, I'm not going to jump all the way over yet because I don't want to trigger that checkpoint. This is how we do it now. It can be a little bit dangerous because we are going to intentionally get tangled here. So blue Yarny's now standing there. White Yarny's all the way down here. When I let go of the button, that's going to fall, and it will kill me if I'm underneath it when it hits the ground. So as I am stepping off the button, I am holding the zoop buttons. Gonna move to the right, zoop. We're getting tangled, but we made it to the checkpoint, rather. We're gonna restart the checkpoint, and we're no longer tangled. And in fact, the game moved us just a little bit forward, which was awfully nice of it. That is a little bit of a time save over the intended method, particularly if you are running on a faster console with good load times. Wall jump here, swing, another swing, yet another swing. Sometimes you get lucky and get a good cycle on these pistons, sometimes you don't.
This level is a really good example that the whole game, it's not RNG, it runs on cycles, but we're never really sure where they start.
So here, one Yarny's going to hold while the other Yarny swings around, and we're going to zoop. Oops. More swings and more wall jumps. This level is just full of those. Not level, chapter. Swing around and around. Alright, there's a couple of ways to do this one as well. We'll demonstrate... Whoops, sorry. We'll demonstrate the more traditional method first. Miss Ray's going to land there. I'm going to jump up here. Swing. Swing. And now we're on top. That's one way to do it. A slightly faster method skips landing on top of that first platform in favor, and you'll see this is a little bit more difficult because you need a very long yarn, in favor of landing here. And now Miss Ray can just come all the way down and zoop to me, and we're in the same place. Either one is completely fine. It's not a huge time save. It is a little bit faster if you can get it first try. But remember, you need a very long yarn. Coming up, we have a couple of fire rooms. Again, I have no idea what this factory produces, other than frustration. Couple of methods here. I'm going to demonstrate my preferred method, and I'll make an attempt at what is probably a slightly faster but much riskier method. And proceed. I'm not going to proceed yet because I'd like to demonstrate the other method. Bear with me, I don't do this often.
Oh, so close.
I'll do that one more time. If I can't get it, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. There you go. All right, here, there's a couple of ways. Let's demonstrate the intended way to do this first. This puzzle is time-consuming, and I don't like it. And climb up. Boy, that took forever, didn't it? So, instead, a couple of different skips we can do. One Yarny's going to stand all the way over here, out of sight, and is going to zoop. It was a little early. We'll try it one more time. This is pretty inconsistent. We don't generally use this method. Oh, almost.
So the goal is to get the cancel to line up so that
yes,
I land on top.
Yep, the zoop cancel will land the blue Yarny on top of this. The white Yarny can simply zoop or climb up, and it skips this entire puzzle, which is really nice. Instead, we can do a similar skip that is slightly more time-consuming, but far more consistent. We'll demonstrate it here. Oh. I said more consistent, not 100% consistent. One more time. Alright, we get ourselves intentionally tangled. Jump and hold L for a while, until it starts to let you simply climb up. And there you go. And often, the tangle will resolve itself. If the tangle doesn't resolve itself, you should still have enough yarn to hit this checkpoint. Here we have another fire room, and it's awful. Take this one slowly, be very careful. The fastest method to get through this room is safely. If you die, you have to do the whole thing over again. There's only one real good skip here, and it's pretty simple. Blue Yarny is just going to zoop down to me. For some reason, it is safe to zoop through those flames. The intended method is simply to just land on this button, and then the blue Yarny can jump down safely. But the zoop works just as well and saves a little bit of time. Try not to get crushed by these, or fall in between.
This is another place, like I was saying, it's all cycle-based, but where this cycle is triggered, we're not sure. So if you get a good cycle, cool. If you don't, you have to wait for a second. We're not sure what makes that happen or not.
Again, it is better to be safe and take it slowly than to try and rush through and get yourself squished. You can skip this first one usually, but if you have to land on that first piston, that's okay. I like this a lot. Nice easy wall jumps there. It looks pretty cool. Just jump onto the... Whoa! That's never happened to me before. Alright, let's restart that checkpoint. Jump onto the platform as it becomes available to you. As you approach that, there will be a platform coming out of the wall that you're going to be very tempted to jump onto. To the best of my knowledge, it is not possible to jump onto it. You can swing over to it. It's very inconsistent. We won't demonstrate it in this video.
I think Rip and Siebes have done it a couple times if you want to go hunting to see what that looks like.
Here's another one of those things where sometimes you'll get a good cycle, sometimes you won't. Near as I can tell, it does not matter how well you do the previous section. If you have to wait on these pistons, that's okay. You will almost always have to wait on at least one set of these pistons. Here's another area where it's going to be very tempting to try and swing directly between anchor points. I would not be surprised if it is technically possible. No runners that I'm aware of have ever actually done it. So just go ahead and land on the pistons.
Small optimizations here. I am tying. He is jumping. I am canceling as soon as I can and zooping over.
You don't have to wait quite so long for that to reach you. Now there is a skip here called box skip. I'm not going to demonstrate it because it's very inconsistent and I'm not very good at it. Essentially the idea is to land on the very outside lip of the box that I just jumped into, and you can propel yourself into the box in front of us. It saves several seconds if you can do it, but unless you get it on the first try, you're going to lose time because you're going to fall into the floor below and get electrocuted. So best to go with safe strats, particularly if this is your first few runs. Jump onto this. Often you can make it underneath that without needing to wait on it the first time. If you do need to wait, that's okay, like I just had to. Just head under that one. Here we've got a fun couple of puzzles coming up. The first set of this next room are pretty straightforward. Just do it like this. Jump up, jump up, jump up, and jump up. This next room, I will attempt to demonstrate the fastest method. I may not get it. It's pretty tough. Yeah, I didn't get it. So you can catch the bottom row as soon as it's there. Didn't get it again. That's all right. So instead, here, this is the semi-reliable method. Just jump up, jump onto this third one, jump over this wheel, and jump onto the top row. What I was trying to do, I'll demonstrate again. It is possible, up, 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 to jump and wall jump like that, instead of needing to wait to jump over that wheel. Saves you a couple of seconds. Very tough to do, though. Here, one Yarny wants to tie this top knot, the other Yarny is going to tie the middle and bottom in that order, and then step on the button. The Yarny that jumps up unties the first knot, jumps to the middle. Bottom Yarny is untying the first knot that they tied. And the other one, whoops, and then jump up to this lever here. This is a lengthy cutscene that cannot be skipped, unfortunately. Chapter 5 can be pretty brutal. There are a lot of puzzles that require very precise timing, and you can lose a lot of time if you go for an optimized strat and don't get it. So it's never a bad thing to take your time and make sure you do it safely on your first attempt. Yeah, you see, I'm not getting ahead of the blue Yarny here, despite the fact that I'm bunny hopping. Here, the name of the game is just not to get killed by the cigarettes. if you angle yourself well enough, you can make pretty good time down these chutes. I try not to wall slide because that's slower, but inevitably I usually end up doing it a little bit. Swing here. This cigarette will not get you. It's okay. Whoops. I went for a little bit faster method there. It didn't work out for me. And took me all the way back here. So you see why I say better to do it right the first time.
This game is pretty good about having really consistent, well-spaced checkpoints, but there are a few places where if something like that happens, you have to go back a long way. So I think it's important to kind of note when those long checkpoints are, so you know where you really need to be more careful.
As you approach this screen, in the previous Fade to Black, I continue holding right and I mash jump. Ordinarily, if you don't hold any buttons, you will land in this dumpster here. You have to jump out. Just a tiny little time save, because I was holding right and mashing jump, I never even landed in the dumpster. I land out here, I can immediately proceed to the right. Just a nice little optimization. Getting close to the end now. Just a couple more puzzles. Again, you can hold right even before you see your Yarny. I don't mash the jump button here. I find that that actually slows me down a little bit, and it's all right. I want to be all the way to the right of this screen to start this puzzle anyway. All right, so here I am. I'm going to tie right, middle, left, in that order. Jump onto this first platform, release one knot. Jump onto the second, release the second knot. Oh, no.
Yo.
That doesn't happen often. Let's restart the checkpoint. Oh, we may have to watch this whole cutscene again.
Oh, no. While we're here, knots are a little bit confusing sometimes at first. You have to remember that the physics of it is that the knot is using the yarn that's connecting the two yarnies. So if I tie a knot and he ties a knot, we will untie whichever knot is closer to us. So when you're both tying knots, that can be a little bit confusing. That's part of why he ties all three of these, just so that he knows exactly what order they get untied in.
All right, one more tie here. Right, middle, left. Release the first knot, jump onto the platform, release the second knot, onto the platform, release the third knot. Wall jump here if you can, so it's a little bit faster to get up here. Here's another good example of a time save via moving before you can see your Yarnies. The blue Yarny, the Yarny on the left, is going to zoop to the white Yarny, the Yarny on the right. So hold the zoop buttons right now, and I am holding right. And I did get it. Usually I do not do this in runs, but I wanted to demonstrate it. Before you can even see your Yarny, you will fall off of this ledge here, and if you press R, R2 or RT, at the right time, you can grab onto this anchor point and swing yourself through this hole without even ever really seeing your Yarny. I usually, in runs, will wait here until I can see my Yarny and do it that way. I just find it a little bit safer, and it's not a huge time save. And it's a big time loss if you miss that anchor and instead have to climb back up and grab it again. Very last semi-puzzle here. Just climb up, grab this. Make sure you hold on to this for as long as you are able. If you let go too early, you will have to grab it again, and you lose quite a bit of time. That's the end of Chapter 5. That's the ending cutscene. And we'll be on to Chapter 6.